turning our attention to the Indiana Hoosiers. Obviously, just the winningest season in program history, the best season for Indiana football since the 1960s. They make the college football playoff. They have an over-under win total at FanDuel Sportsbook of 8.5, over plus 110, under minus 134. DK, as you're looking at Fernando Mendoza, Roman Hemby, some offensive linemen from Notre Dame and elsewhere, as they're trying to get bigger so their quarterback doesn't get absolutely rocked and have to play with the torn ACL. Defensively, they return a lot of the stars that we liked from last year and then add some reinforcements, but the schedule does get tougher. What are we doing with the Hoosiers?
Not in the first 3 games. It doesn't.
No, it does not.
Let's start off 3-0, get some confidence back. So I think there's a chance they might upgrade at quarterback. Last year, as good as it was so little mobility. I think Mendoza comes in, provides them a little bit more escapability. Kyle Kamara, we talked about him a little bit last year. They brought back other pieces on the defense side of the ball. There's still a lot of leftover James Madison transfers that are on the squad. I'm going to go over, but what makes me nervous about the over is when I go through the schedule and I start chalking them up and I'm like, WWW, I'm like, for the wins, I'm like, man, I wouldn't have done this a year ago. Like, I'm already bought in, but you know what? I'm buying into the Cignetti train. I'm buying into what he's selling. I'm going to go over.
Over as well. Just juggernaut Hoosiers. Like, this program is the epitome of what everybody wants to be in the Big Ten. I think that they're going to be even better this year with the changes that they've made, getting rid of those losers from last year's roster and replacing them with real winners. I think you look at those road games, Iowa, Oregon, Penn State, all coin flips. You know, I think Indiana's got a great chance to win all of those. They're just that good. And I think that their home slate is pretty damn, easy for the Hoosiers. This is a blue blood program. Always has been. Always will be. Over.
Are y'all smelling something?
What? You telling me this team ain't going to win? Danny just said they're going to win 9 games. What am I saying that's completely out of line?
No, it is not the words you're saying, it's how you're saying them. Sometimes it's tone, sometimes it's just
spot the losses, Chip, name them.
Well, that's why I'm under. I think that I just quickly, I don't think at Oregon and at Penn State are coin flips. I think that Indiana is still in a different tier, that not only playing those opponents, but playing those opponents in those environments, 2 of the toughest road environments in the Big Ten. I'm just going to go ahead and get those. And so now the question becomes, if I'm going to go over 8.5, do I really trust that they're only going to have one other loss beyond that? And that's where some of those games of a little bit more of the coin flip variety, of which an Illinois team that I'm bullish on, playing at Iowa. I think there's a chance that you're going to end up taking 2 more losses beyond those 2 road trips. So I am on the under slightly. It's not a bullish. I don't think this team goes 7-5. I don't see that as a realistic outcome, but I do think the step back will include something that ends in an 8-4 season.
Yeah, I priced under at minus 149. So given it's like 134, I'm very slightly to the under here. It's like not some huge edge that I'm going to bet and plot my money down for the course of the season over 15 cents. But if Fernando Mendoza is actually like that dude, if he's a top 10 pick and plays like it this year, then I think we just off our cap, because Indiana's probably going to go like 11-1. I don't know that he's exactly that. I also, like our friend Bill Connolly, who maybe we'll have on the show for a little bonus episode coming up, he did a new stat this year talking about like roster continuity. And this is something that I always wished, like, to be honest, way back in the day, Phil Steele would have expanded on. I just don't know if he had the data to do it. But I remember as a kid getting that magazine, and he would mention that like the Sooners team that beat Chris Winkie there in the Orange Bowl for the national title, 25 years ago. 25 years ago. God, we're old. That team basically lost like no starters the entire year to injury. Like, they just stayed super healthy. And this is sort of one of those things that typically does not seem to happen year to year, and it's not necessarily sticky. Like Arizona State, the 2 years prior to last year, were crazy injured. And last year they actually finally, they were due some injury luck to the positive, and they actually got it. Indiana last year was extremely healthy throughout the season. And so, yes, they're veteran. Yes, I think they really knew what they had with a lot of those JMU transfers they brought over. But man, they did stay pretty damn healthy throughout the year. And like that is like the game to game lineup continuity piece is something that you probably have to regress a little bit to the negative for this group. And I'm a little concerned that Mendoza takes a lot of shots, dude. Like he gets hit. And I don't know that their backup situation is something that I love, and really for any of these teams this year, to be honest, because a lot of these guys transfer out. But I'm very slightly under here. I do still like the defensive line. I think the receivers on the top end could be nasty. I don't know if I love the backups so much, but I guess we're just nerds having opinions on the backups for Indiana receiver room. I'm slightly under here. It's not like a super strong convicted take, but like Illinois, Iowa, Oregon, hypothetically here, if you start 3-3, which is not out of the question.
Correct.
Does Cignetti still get those crowds like he got last year for Michigan State when they come to town, for UCLA when they come to town? If this team's out of the playoff race before Halloween, how pumped are they to go play at Maryland, right? Like at Penn State, it's certainly not an easy game. I love the finish, because if you like the finish for Illinois, you kind of had to like the finish here with Wisconsin, which could be a zombie team by that point in the year potentially, and obviously Purdue, which I don't think really has like a Power 5 roster yet. I'm slightly under.
Indiana starting 3-3 is a ridiculous premise. If Fernando Mendoza is not a Heisman finalist and this team is not back in the playoff, this was a disappointing letdown season.
Amazing. Keep it up. I might have to like factor in a little bonus. I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna have some conviction here, but if Fernando does get knocked out, you know who's coming in? I think Alberto, because Fernando has a brother named Alberto. Are we sure Fernando and Alberto are not just the same person? Yes. We've got two Mendoza. Yes, we've got two Mendoza brothers holding down the quarterback room. I mean, you're probably, if you're the third quarterback, you're just getting steamrolled by pranks during film room, like every single meeting. Like you've got no chance. You're dealing like there's a real factor. We've got Mendoza rules, like O'Doyle rules. Like, I mean, there's some real Mendoza brother energy that's probably dominating that meeting room. I really hope that Shanahan's going to be able to keep everything in line with those guys, because the Mendoza brothers, you don't want to cross them. Everybody knows that. Alberto Mendoza, redshirt freshman, backup quarterback. If Fernando gets hit, I'm glad Tom's so bullish on this Indiana team.
Go Hoosiers.